Look, I'm about to give birth to our second child, literally risking my life, and you pull this? Are you kidding me? This is the first time I've called my husband anything derogatory. He messed up so badly, I can't even say his name anymore. I found out about the shocking truth the day before giving birth. Anger trumps sadness, and I can't even cry. My name is Madeline, and I'm 32 years old. I live with my husband Andy, who was my college classmate, and our 4-year-old son Johnny. I never thought I'd find myself in such an ugly situation, living our normally peaceful lives. Andy is generally a good, gentle man, although he can be a pushover at times. He travels for work twice a month, but on his days off, he's always there playing with our son Johnny. Madeline, I can work with peace of mind because you're taking care of our home. I really appreciate it, especially on days when you're handling childcare alone. He was someone who always showed appreciation toward me. Our son Johnny has been doing well since starting preschool. He's taller and has lots of friends. I've also made some mom friends and enjoy the casual chit-chat during pickups. Wow, Johnny, you've shot up again, haven't you? Sienna, my college classmate and supposed friend, greeted us that way. Originally, our husbands had a mentor-mentee relationship and got along well. We used to double date quite often. We're close as families since our kids are the same age. But to be honest, I never liked Sienna, even back in our college days. The feeling is mutual among my other mom friends. My husband's getting promoted to department head, you know. We're celebrating at our place tonight. You should come, Madeline, she would say, unsolicited, puffing herself up with self-importance. It didn't make me feel good. This has been the case since college. Sienna's husband is 2 years our senior, and despite many rivals vying for his attention, Sienna ultimately won her spot by his side. During our double dates, she would show off her expensive necklaces and say things like, Madeline, you seem to wear the same types of clothes all the time, don't you? She would belittle me based on my appearance. Sienna got married right after college, while I worked and got married at 28 to Andy. We invited each other to our weddings out of obligation, and she pulled another stunt on my wedding day. When I saw Sienna from the main table, my face tightened. Seriously, Sienna? Her dress was all white, and it was so inappropriate that even the guests were stealing uncomfortable glances. To top it off, she even wore something like a tiara in her hair. Some of her college friends couldn't stand it anymore and rushed over to Sienna. Come on, this is way out of line. Think about how Madeline must feel. And that hairpiece? Seriously, why didn't you stop her? Her senior could only apologize, saying, Well, I'm sorry. Ugh, quit nagging. It only looks this way because of the lighting. It's off-white, and it's cute. So what's the problem? Off-white, she says. Really? Her senior had to practically drag a loudmouth Sienna away, leaving people to comment. Wow, that was something crazy. The ceremony was interrupted, and the atmosphere was tense. Clearly, the one who stood out the most that day was Sienna. And so my wedding was ruined by her. A few months later, Madeline, my senior has been asking me multiple times about making amends for the wedding. Honestly, it's getting harder for me to keep saying no. With a worn-out expression, Andy spoke up. I can't forgive what happened at the wedding. It was supposed to be a happy day, ruined by Sienna. Just recalling that day brought tears to my eyes. I get it. It was awful. But I owe a lot to our senior since high school. So, coaxed by Andy, I reluctantly agreed to have dinner with Sienna and her husband. We were invited to their lavish apartment and were quite surprised by its extravagance. As soon as we rang the doorbell, Sienna appeared. Madeline, I'm really sorry about the wedding. I've been scolded by many people since then, and I now realize I was wrong. I'm truly sorry. Our apologies, too. I should have stopped it. We'd like to remain friends, if that's okay with you. Our senior bowed deeply. Oh, I wish I could keep my distance. When I glanced at Andy for support, he was looking at me as if to say, Can't you forgive them? I thought you were on my side. Well, it's water under the bridge now. That's all I could say with a forced smile. Even if they apologize now, It won't change the past. The wedding can't be redone. And it's all a done deal. That's a relief. You're always so understanding, Madeline. Let's eat. I ordered a lot, so dig in. Oh, we have alcohol, too. Sienna, cheerful as if nothing had happened, prompted us to eat. Despite thinking she hasn't changed a bit, we enjoyed the moment. Having been on a diet for the wedding, I let loose and drank more than I should have. Embarrassingly, I ended up sleeping at Sienna's place. When I woke up, Andy was sleeping next to me. We quickly said our thanks to Sienna and her husband and made our exit. I've dodged future invitations from Sienna. Besides, I was pregnant and didn't have time for her anymore. Entering the later stages of pregnancy, I got a message from Sienna. Madeline, it's been a while. You've probably heard from Andy, but I had a baby. The reason for Andy's relief was that Sienna had moved far away due to a job transfer. Andy was glad the seniors' calls had become infrequent. For 3 years, we lived a peaceful life. But when our son Johnny turned 3 and started preschool, my calm life came to a sudden halt. Hey, isn't that you, Madeline? Wow, it's been ages. We're at the same preschool. I'm so happy. The high-energy voice was none other than Sienna, whom I hadn't seen in about 3 years. Sienna, long time no see. Didn't you say you moved far away? I moved back this year. I don't know anyone here, so it's great to see a familiar face. I wasn't happy at all. I noticed other parents giving us strange looks. The last thing I wanted was to be thought of as her friend. Contrary to high-strung Sienna, her son Elliot greeted me shyly. Hello, my name's Johnny. Let's play together. Encouraged by Johnny, Elliot nodded happily. I'm glad our kids seem to get along. Sienna beamed. Though her words irritated me, I was happy Johnny made a friend. Sienna, still a housewife, would invite me for brunch when dropping Johnny off. I have to work, sorry. Her response, oh, it must be tough needing to work, irked me. If she caught me during pickup, she'd loudly share her personal struggles, like having difficulty conceiving a second child right at the preschool gate. A few months later, I became pregnant with our second child. Knowing it would be a headache if Sienna found out, I decided to wait until the second trimester to announce. Andy was sworn to secrecy. On bad days, I'd ask my mom to do the pickup and drop-off. However, kids are candid. A text from Sienna soon landed. Did you get pregnant? I saw your mom do the school run, and Johnny said he's becoming a big brother. I couldn't help but shout, Johnny! In my mind, though I know Johnny isn't to blame. Ever since he learned he was going to be a big brother, he's been talking to my belly every day, excitedly asking if his sibling is coming yet. When I told Sienna the news, she surprisingly responded, Congratulations! That's great! A second child. If you need anything, feel free to ask. I stayed cautious, but nothing out of the ordinary happened, and I continued to enjoy a peaceful pregnancy. Since I had a C-section for Johnny, I was advised to have another one for my second child. Andy and I discussed it and set a date for the delivery. Johnny, Mom is going to be in the hospital for a bit, but I'm leaving you in Papa's hands. I'll be back with your cute little sister, okay? We found out that the baby in my belly is a girl. Don't worry, you can count on me, Johnny said to my request, making me smile as I thought about our dependable son. Oh, sure, you can count on me. It'll be tough for you too, Madeline, but hang in there. I'll bring Johnny to the hospital tomorrow. I noticed Andy has been acting a bit strange lately, but I thanked him and went to the hospital alone by taxi to prepare for the next day's delivery. Shortly after arriving at the hospital, I received a message from Sienna saying she urgently needed to talk. I suggested talking after the baby was born, but she insisted. You'll be busy then, right? So I agreed to hear her out. Soon after, Sienna and her son Elliot showed up. Madeline, I'm sorry for the sudden visit. I just really wanted Elliot to meet your unborn child before she arrives. I was tilting my head at Sienna's confusing words when she blurted out something unbelievable. Look, Elliot, you're going to have a little sister. Isn't that exciting? She really said that. I looked at Sienna with a puzzled expression, wondering if she had finally lost her mind. Elliot also looked at his mom, Sienna, with a worried face. What are you talking about? Well, the reason I came here today is to ask a favor. You see, Elliot is actually Andy's child. My husband and I are separating. But since Elliot is Andy's son, would you consider letting Andy be with us? Kids need a dad, right? What? Hold on. What? Elliot is Andy's son? And I should hand Andy over. My head was spinning from all the information. Regardless of my bewildered look, Sienna continued her story, visibly excited. Sienna, who had been troubled about having a second child, mentioned she took a DNA test. Turns out there was no biological relationship between Elliot and my husband. Remember when Andy came over for dinner a long time ago? Well, Andy and I, you see, in a drunken moment, while my husband and I were asleep, she and Andy had been intimate once. That's how Elliot was conceived, she told me. Even though it was mutual, Sienna admitted it was a clear act of infidelity. Who does that kind of stuff while other people are sleeping? Gross. Is she insane? So Andy and I were both freaking out. We were like, let's take this to the grave. But no. Sienna occasionally laughed while speaking. It was hard to understand her logic, and it broke my heart to see Elliot in this situation. So why should I give Andy to you? I'm going to give birth to his child soon. I wanted to grab this woman by the collar right then and there, but held back. Listen, my husband suddenly says he's quitting his job. He'll be jobless. I can't work, you know, Madeline. You have a job. So give me Andy. Elliot's his son. He should take responsibility. I talked to Andy about this, but he says it's impossible. Can't you persuade him? Her disjointed words made me feel even worse. So that's why he's been acting weird lately. She's got nerve. While Sienna nonchalantly went to the restroom, followed by Elliot, my phone rang. It was Andy. Hello, I said, restraining the urge to scream at him. Hey, Madeline. I can't find Johnny's favorite snack. Where is it? How's the hospital? I can't wait to see Johnny and our new baby tomorrow. Johnny must be happy to have a sibling soon. Ignorant of Sienna's presence, Andy said this innocently. Siblings, huh? If you're talking about Johnny's older brother, he's actually here right now. The moment I said that, silence filled the phone line. Andy seemed to realize something was off, but couldn't find the words. What's going on, Andy? I'm putting my life on the line to give birth to our second child. Are you kidding me? I called him you for the first time. I couldn't even stand to say his name anymore. Just then, Sienna, who had returned from the bathroom, sensed I was on the phone with Andy, and provocatively said, Sorry, Andy, I spilled all the beans. I always knew she was a piece of work, but this is another level of crazy. Andy apparently heard that and said, Why are you there? What the hell do I even say to my boss now? Fed up with Andy, who was still only concerned about himself, I shouted, Will you get real? Get here, right now. Yes. He responded and hung up. About 20 minutes later, a pale-faced Andy showed up. When Andy walked in, Sienna said in jest, Look, Elliot, it's your real daddy. Want a hug? Elliot looked like he was about to cry. I had reached my limit and hit the nurse call button. Sienna's voice had been loud as usual. Even the nurse seemed to have heard the conversation and kindly took Elliot to the kids' room, suggesting, Why don't we go play over there? Alone in the now quiet room, Andy said, I have no intention of leaving Madeline. But in my head, divorce was the only option. This man had been deceiving me for 4 years. I was even angry at my ignorant self. But Elliot is technically the eldest son, so give him the father title, won't you? Sienna chimed in, which earned her a glare from Andy. Why is she so confident? What makes her think she has the upper hand here? Feel free to pin this on this sorry man. Take it as compensation for your troubles. At my words, Sienna laughs. Madeline, do you know the statute of limitations is 3 years? It's been 4 years since that incident, so your time is up. Now I understand why she's so bold. Andy, still looking stunned, hears me say, I can't forgive you, Andy, not even this once. And you, Sienna? Why today of all days? This is a joke, and you know the statute starts when you find out about it. So starting today, you've got 3 more years. Congrats! Now you can look forward to that compensation check, I said, reveling in the moment as I enlightened the clueless woman in front of me. Sienna glares at me, her eyes wide. In the silence that fills the room, she says, Andy, Madeline said her piece. Shouldn't we just get married? If you want a child, I could be pregnant again from our recent encounter. Andy interrupts. Enough. Just stop talking. Tears were filling his eyes. Apparently, they'd been involved recently. Were they drunk again? What does this mean? Statute of limitations. She should quit while she's ahead. Tired of their childish bickering, I say. Can you both leave? My mom will pick up Johnny. She knows what's going on. I'm pissed. I'm going back to my parents' house after I get discharged. I'm never coming back here. Adding salt to the wound, I add, take care of your own mess, will you? They looked puzzled, so I explain. I've had a call connected to my superior since just before Andy walked in. The call was recorded, of course. I switch it to speaker mode. Hey, Sienna, you better be ready. I'm coming over. My superior's stern voice fills the room. You could feel his rage just by hearing his voice. I press the nurse call button. Please get these two out. They're only causing stress. If they show up during my hospital stay, don't hesitate to call the police. Oh, Johnny's dad will be here to pick him up soon. While I remained composed, their faces had turned ashen. The next day, I gave birth to a healthy baby girl as scheduled. I named her Alvina. Andy and I met once after that to discuss divorce. Andy pleaded that it was a momentary lapse in judgment. You want us to keep living together like nothing happened? That's torture. I can't do it. I want a divorce. I won't give up custody, and I'll seek alimony. Also, maybe it's time to give up drinking, don't you think? Though Andy was crying, I felt no love for him anymore. I carefully explained to Johnny that we'd be living apart from his dad. I'll protect you and Alvina, Mom. Tears filled my eyes at Johnny's unexpected response. Later, the divorce with Andy was finalized. I had no regrets. Andy had apparently moved back with his parents, and to my surprise, Sienna was living next door. I thought, is he sane? Sienna greeted her in-laws with a flattering tone. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. My son isn't here today, but we'll visit you together next time. Turns out Sienna got a chillier reception. Leave. Because of you, we can't see Madeline or Johnny. Go away. Johnny and I had always been loved by Andy's parents. They were devastated when I told them the reason for the divorce. Once things settled down, I planned to visit them. I'd love for them to meet my daughter, Alvina. And what made me happy was that my mentor adopted Elliot. Blood or not, Elliot is my son, he said, and moved out of state. I was attracted to him for his blunt honesty, but now I see he was just selfish, I thought. He had left his job to start his own business, or so I heard. What a foolish woman I was. Both Andy and Sienna ended up paying us compensation in the divorce case, and Sienna's parents disowned her, covering the cost of the divorce on the condition she'd never show her face again. Andy even filed for a transfer to an out-of-state branch to escape from Sienna. With no job experience at 30 and a bad personality to boot, Sienna struggled to find a job. A friend told me, I randomly saw Sienna downtown. She looks like she's in her 50s now, though she's probably struggling. I have no plans to involve myself with her again. I moved back to my parents' house and have been busy raising my 2 kids ever since. Alvina, you're so adorable, I say. Now that Johnny has become a big brother, he's utterly smitten with his little sister Alvina every single day. Seeing their grandchildren like this, my parents are also head over heels. Getting to see our adorable grandchildren every day is the best thing ever. I recently informed my workplace about the divorce, and they were incredibly supportive. Take your parental leave, and then come back as a full-time employee, they advised. I never thought I'd go through an experience like this, but I have no regrets about the path I've chosen. As I watch my sleeping children, I vow in my heart to become a strong mother.